Welcome back. This is Damian White. I'm Todd Graff, and this is the Gold Spot. Okay, Damian, so, a lot of my clients have been talking about inflation lately. Everybody notices it in their day-to-day lives, but we've also had some of the official CPI numbers that came out yesterday, and everybody's been talking about that and looking into that. What would you say that this current inflation number, does this compare to any time in the past?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are similarities to it. I mean, first, I think we need to unbundle what's really going on. We did have the CPI number came out recently, and the producer price index actually came out as well. The CPI is, of course, of the consumer's prices. What I think is an important distinction that people need to know is that the rate of inflation is different than actual inflation. So these numbers came in lower, got everybody excited. I mean, gold went up, the dollar went down, stocks even went up. I mean, inflation subsiding was a positive benefit for everyone to look at. But the actual cost of goods, inflation has not come down. The price of things have not come down at all. The rate of inflation has slowed down. And so that means that things are increasing in price slower than they normally were in the recent past. So that effectively is doing what the Federal Reserve wants. They're trying to bring things down to a 2% inflation rate, but it's not lowering prices for anybody at any time. So I think that's a very important distinction to take into consideration. If you compare it to other time periods, there is a very similar time period, and that is of the 70s, which, I mean, the older generation and people would know what was happening back then. We had extreme rates of inflation, a lot of it due to oil and other things that were happening at that time period, but it went in waves in that time period. So you would go, it would have large increases in the inflation rate, and then it would come down. People would think that the problem was over, when in fact we were preparing for another surge. And I think that's very similar to what's going on now, where it was about a 15-year period where the economy was going through huge waves of inflation, where where it would come down and prices would reduce a little bit, and then we went into another massive inflationary spike, which you can see on the graph here. And this is basically what we could be heading into in the near future, where the Federal Reserve and consumers in general may be becoming a little more complacent, and then we go into a whole nother surge, which could be brought on by a whole slew of additional problems.
Yeah, and I think that's something people really need to watch out for. Everybody notices inflation, but if it really increases the value of our dollar, the purchasing power of our dollar is going down, I mean, gold, silver is going to be the best place to have your money, have your assets. So definitely give us a call if you have any questions regarding gold and silver. We'd be happy to talk to you, and join us next time.
If you enjoyed today's Gold Spot, like or subscribe to both our YouTube or our Rumble channels. Also, comment below if you have any questions or if you want to hear us talk about something specific in a future video.